Lunch. Lasagna. Broccoli.
Tammy Slaton's downfall did not happen in one shocking moment, though her second arrest may have made it appear that way to casual observers. For those who had been watching closely, the seeds of this crisis were planted long before headlines began circulating and before mugshots plastered across social media reshaped her public image from the charming, funny sister to the troubled mother at the center of a controversy too raw for many fans to process. The story of Amy's arrest at the Tennessee Safari Park, with drugs discovered in her vehicle while her children were reportedly present, is only the explosive culmination of years of overlooked warning signs, private struggles, and a reality television machine that prized ratings over reality. For fans, what began as a feel-good show about two Kentucky sisters pursuing better health and a new life has transformed into a morality tale about fame, addiction, motherhood, and betrayal. The reaction to Amy's arrest was instant and visceral. For years she had been the safe sister in the eyes of the viewing public, the one fans felt they could root for without guilt. Tammy was polarizing, her battles with weight, her stubbornness with doctors, her volatile temper, and her brushes with death made her a magnet for criticism as well as sympathy. Amy, by contrast, was framed as the more grounded sibling, the one who managed to start a family, secure weight loss surgery, and move into her own home while holding on to her sense of humor. That image gave fans something to cling to, a belief that out of the chaos of the Slaton family saga, one sister had broken free to build a better life. Overnight, that carefully cultivated picture was destroyed. Mugshots circulated online, and with them came thousands of shocked posts, comments, and hashtags that framed Amy not as the doting mother viewers adored but as an irresponsible and dangerous parent who had hidden her darker choices from the very people who defended her most fiercely. On Twitter and TikTok, hashtags like #JusticeForTheKids and #AmySlatonArrested trended within hours. Heartbroken fans poured their feelings into the digital void. "We defended her for years," one wrote. "We said she was the good mother and this was what she was hiding all along. I feel deceived." On Reddit, sprawling discussion threads ballooned into hundreds of comments, some filled with outrage and others with sorrow, as people debated whether Amy should be stripped of custody. Certain users declared her actions unforgivable, pointing to the involvement of children as the red line that could not be crossed. Others, however, argued that Amy needed rehabilitation, counseling, and support rather than condemnation. This divide reflected something deeper than a typical reality TV scandal. Fans were not only reacting to Amy's downfall but wrestling with their own role in defending her for so long and with the uncomfortable truth that reality TV had once again blurred the lines between entertainment and real human suffering. At the heart of the uproar were Amy's children. Unlike many other reality TV controversies, this one did not simply involve adults making bad choices or networks exploiting drama. It involved two young kids who, according to reports, were present during the incident that led to Amy's arrest. Their vulnerability turned the scandal into something far graver in the eyes of fans, child advocates, and casual observers alike. Across parenting forums and advocacy blogs, professionals weighed in, declaring that this was not a matter of celebrity gossip but one of child endangerment. If these children lived in any other home, one advocate wrote, an emergency hearing would already have taken place. CPS must intervene. Fame will not protect them forever. For many, this incident shifted the conversation away from whether Amy deserved forgiveness to whether her children were safe. This intense focus on the children has also amplified scrutiny of TLC. For years the network has profited from scandal, drama, and implosions across its lineup, from the cheating revelations on 90 Day Fiancé to the bitter family fractures on Sister Wives. But Amy's arrest presents a different challenge. The involvement of drugs, criminal charges, and above all, children, places TLC in a precarious position. If the network continues to feature Amy, it risks being accused of exploiting illegal activity and endangering children for profit. If it cuts ties with her, it risks destabilizing one of its most lucrative shows. As of yet, TLC's silence has only worsened the controversy. Fans interpret the lack of a public statement as cowardice or, worse, complicity. On Facebook fan pages, the anger is palpable. "I'll stop watching if TLC doesn't sever its relationship with Amy after this," one viewer declared. They'd rather keep exploiting those kids than protect them. Disgraceful. Others pointed out that the network has long leaned into dysfunction as a selling point: Amy's drug use, Chris's post-surgery struggles, Tammy's near-death crises, yet questioned how far the line could be pushed before something truly tragic occurred. Amidst the fallout, the irony has not gone unnoticed. While Amy unravels, Tammy has entered what fans describe as her redemption arc. Once the problem sister whose volatile behavior and health crises nearly destroyed her life, Tammy has lost weight, found love, and regained a sense of independence that once seemed impossible. The role reversal feels surreal to many viewers, like a narrative twist that could have been scripted for shock value. "It's like the Twilight Zone," one fan commented. The sister who begged Tammy to get her life together is now the one in trouble with the law. This reversal has sparked speculation that TLC might quietly shift focus away from Amy in future seasons, subtly phasing her out while rebranding Tammy as the centerpiece of the show's new narrative. For Amy, the legal consequences are potentially devastating. Unlike her first arrest, which was quietly brushed aside, this second incident is far more serious. Legal experts note that repeat offenses often lead to harsher penalties, especially when children are involved. Amy may face jail time, probation, hefty fines, mandated parenting classes, and drug counseling. The involvement of Child Protective Services could result in restricted custody or, in the worst-case scenario, complete loss of parental rights. For a woman who often said her children were her primary motivation for change, the reason she pursued weight loss surgery, left her troubled marriage, and pushed through emotional struggles, such an outcome would be the most devastating blow of all. The tragedy of Amy's story is not only in the legal jeopardy she faces but in the way her downfall exposes the fragile foundation beneath the narrative fans once embraced. Long before fame, Amy's life in Dixon, Kentucky was marked by instability. Poverty, family health struggles, and limited opportunities shaped her early years. Food became comfort, but so did drinking, marijuana, and eventually party drugs. These behaviors were often overlooked in the small-town environment where rumors rarely traveled far beyond county lines. Her initial run-in with the law was quietly dismissed, forgotten by many, and conveniently erased from the image TLC presented of her as the hopeful counterbalance to Tammy's chaos. The network built Amy's. Tammy Slaton's unraveling conflict with TLC was no longer just a private feud hidden behind closed corporate doors but a swelling storm that had grown into a full-blown spectacle, one that blurred the line between a reality star's suffering and a network's greed. And when she stormed out of that meeting refusing hush money and empty promises, her entire world shifted from being a product under contract to a woman ready to risk everything for truth, because in her mind there was no price tag. That could erase the years she had given them, years where her heaviest struggles, her most humiliating breakdowns, her near-death moments, and her fractured family dynamics had been repackaged as entertainment while TLC executives laughed to the bank, tallying millions upon millions in ad revenue, streaming deals, international syndication rights, and merchandise sales, all while she and her siblings were forced to scrape by on what insiders alleged were embarrassingly small checks that barely covered groceries, let alone hospital bills, rehab stays, or the specialized equipment Tammy needed to live. The betrayal cut deeper than money, because Tammy believed they had deliberately painted her as the villain, the lazy one, the ungrateful one, while editing out her efforts, her progress, and her genuine attempts to be kinder, and instead emphasizing her tantrums, her clashes with Amy, her bitter remarks toward Chris, Amanda, and Misty, because conflict sells, they always told themselves in production meetings. Yet Tammy was left carrying the burden of the world's judgment every time a new episode dropped and trolls filled her social media with insults. And now, as her story of exploitation spread, TLC was panicking in ways the public couldn't yet see, because attorneys were drafting cease and desist letters, publicists were scripting vague statements about creative misunderstandings, and executives were quietly calling their contacts at other networks to make sure Tammy wouldn't have an easy time jumping ship, but at the same time they were terrified. Because if Tammy truly went public with receipts, with documents, with evidence that she had been exploited, it wouldn't just be a messy PR cycle, it could spark congressional inquiries into reality TV labor practices, it could trigger lawsuits from other disgruntled stars who might see Tammy's courage as a green light to finally air their own grievances, and it could permanently stain TLC's brand as a network that thrived on humiliation-based programming. Tammy, however, wasn't thinking in legal terms or even strategic terms, She was thinking in raw emotional terms, because for the first time in her life she wasn't just reacting to what people did to her, she was acting, taking back a sense of agency she'd been denied since childhood. And though Amy wept when Tammy explained her decision, afraid of losing the house security, the medical support, the notoriety that had at least opened doors, Amy also knew deep down her sister had been wronged, and while she hesitated publicly, in private she admitted she'd seen the same shady accounting, the same manipulative editing, the same condescending notes from producers instructing her to antagonize Tammy a little more for the scene, and Chris, ever the defender, told Tammy bluntly that she was right, that they had used her pain and made her into a product, Amanda and Misty quietly echoing their support, though all feared retaliation. Because TLC was known for its sharp claws and long memory, and as days bled into weeks, Tammy's quiet conversations turned into whispers in friend circles, whispers became rumors online, rumors became threads on Reddit, hashtags on Twitter, posts on Instagram, where fans who had once mocked her now rallied with #JusticeForTammy banners, some even revisiting old clips and pointing out how TLC had clearly manipulated storylines, cutting scenes to make her look cruel, lazy, or volatile, while hiding evidence of her caretaking, her kindness to nieces and nephews, her private moments of laughter with siblings. And as the movement gained traction, TLC scrambled harder, even allegedly offering lump sum payouts in exchange for non-disclosure agreements. But Tammy had hardened, insisting this wasn't about hush money, this was about truth, about telling fans that her suffering had been packaged and sold back to them without her consent, and the more she spoke, the angrier she became. Recalling how producers once told her she couldn't have certain medical expenses covered because those kinds of storylines don't test well with audiences, or how they discouraged her